Obinna, who had been trying to avoid another confrontation, reluctantly entered the dining room. What's going on? Ngozi pointed at the table angrily. Do you see this? Fruits! She's ordered the maids to serve only fruits for breakfast. Obinna looked helplessly at Amara, who remained serene and unbothered. Amara, is this really necessary? Amara took a slow, deliberate bite of her fruit before answering. Yes, Obinna, it is. A healthy breakfast is essential for everyone. If Ngozi has a problem with it, she can make her own arrangements. Ngozi clenched her fist, her voice rising. You have no right to dictate what I eat. This is my house too. Amara raised an eyebrow. Correction, Ngozi. This is my house. You are just an unwelcomed guest, and as long as you are under my roof, you will follow my rules. Ngozi turned to Obinna, her eyes pleading and furious at the same time. Obinna, do something. Obinna signed, feeling trapped between the two women. Ngozi, let's not make this worse. It's just breakfast. We can discuss this later. Discuss what later? Amara interjected. There's nothing to discuss. From now on, things will be done my way. Ngozi's eyes burned with hatred as she glared at Amara. You think you have won, but this isn't over. Amara smiled calmly. Oh, Ngozi, I am just getting started. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to enjoy my breakfast in peace. Ngozi stormed out of the dining room, her rage echoing through the house. Obinna followed her, leaving Amara alone at the table, the faintest hint of a smile playing on her lips as she savored her small victory. Days turned into weeks, and the atmosphere in the house became increasingly tense. Ngozi's frustration grew, and she began to take out her anger on Obinna, who found himself torn between the two women. One day, Amara, Ngozi, and Obinna were all at home. Ngozi stepped out to get something, and when she was returning, Amara spotted her through the window. Seizing the moment, Amara quickly rushed to the living room wearing a seductive outfit and pulled Obinna into a passionate kiss. Obinna, caught off guard, didn't have time to react before Ngozi walked in and saw them. What is going on here? Ngozi shouted, her face red with fury. Obinna tried to explain, but Amara cut him off. This isn't the first time, Ngozi. He's been sneaking into my room at night, she said, her voice laced with false innocence. Obinna's eyes widened in shock. Amara, what are you talking about? That's not true. Amara continued, her tone steady and convincing. Oh, really, Obinna? What about last Tuesday when you claimed you were working late in the study, but you ended up in my room, trying to touch me? Or the time you slipped in at midnight, thinking I was asleep, whispering sweet words into my ear, telling me Ngozi is just a mistake, that you don't even love her anymore because she's a gold digger with an empty brain. Ngozi's eyes darted between them, her anger intensifying. You liar! You cheat! How dare you betray me like this? She screamed, her voice shaking with fury. Obinna tried to hold her, but she pushed him away and stomped into their room, slamming the door behind her. Obinna followed, desperately, trying to explain. Amara stood in the hallway, a satisfied smile playing on her lips. She had sown the seeds of discord, and now it was time to watch them grow. That night, as Amara lay in bed, she could hear Obinna and Ngozi arguing in the next room. Ngozi was insisting that Amara had to leave the house, while Obinna was trying to explain that there was nothing he could do. Why can't you just get rid of her? Ngozi demanded. You know, it's complicated, Obinna replied, his voice strained. Amara's heart swelled with satisfaction. She knew this was just the beginning of the drama that would unfold. She had finally taken control of her life, and now it was time for Obinna and Ngozi to face the consequences of their actions. Amara had a close friend, Chima, who was deeply in love with her. Despite her constant reminders that she was still married, Chima never gave up, knowing her marriage was just on paper. They remained good friends. One day, Amara bumped into Chima at the supermarket. They started talking, and he asked her about her relationship with her husband. Having heard the gossip everywhere, he wondered where that left him. She assured him they were not back together and that she was working on her divorce. Obinna happened to be in the area to see a friend. His friend nudged him and pointed, "Obinna, isn't that your wife? Looks like she's moved on, just like you." Obinna's eyes narrowed in jealousy as he watched Amara and Chima enjoying each other's company. He waited until they were about to leave before approaching them. Obinna leaned in and kissed Amara passionately in front of Chima. "Darling, you didn't tell me you'd be shopping here." Amara was embarrassed, especially with Chima right there. She forced a smile to avoid causing a scene. Obinna turned to Chima with a smug look. "Would you introduce me to your friend?" Amara did so reluctantly. "Chima, this is Obinna." Obinna extended his hand. "Nice to meet you. Shall we live together, darling?" Amara had no choice but to go with him. She signaled to Chima that she would call him later. In the car, she was furious. Obinna kept his eyes on the road but could feel her anger. "Why were you in public with that man, laughing?" "Don't soil my name. Wait until after the divorce." Amara glared at him, her face flushed with anger. "You have no right to tell me what to do. You have been parading around with Ngozi, and now you want to control me? Hypocrite." Obinna's lips tightened, trying to maintain his composure. "Just be careful, Amara. I don't want any scandal." He dropped her off at her workplace. As soon as she got out of the car, she called Chima to apologize. "I am so sorry about that. I didn't expect Obinna to show up." Chima's voice was calm. "It's okay, Amara. I understand. I can't wait for you to get your divorce and be free from all this." Amara sighed, feeling both frustrated and supported. "Thank you for your understanding. I will call you later." At home, Amara continued to exert her dominance. She replaced all the staff with new people loyal to her, creating an environment where Ngozi felt like an outsider. She also redecorated the house, removing any traces of Ngozi's influence. One evening, as Obinna and Ngozi sat in the living room, Amara walked in, holding a document. "Obinna, I need your signature on this." Obinna looked at the document. "What is it?" "It's a list of new house rules," Amara said nonchalantly, "to ensure everyone knows their place." Ngozi grabbed the document and skimmed through it, her eyes widening in disbelief. "This is ridiculous. You can't expect us to follow this." Amara smiled. "Oh, but I do, and you will." Obinna reluctantly signed the document, knowing there was little he could do to oppose Amara. Ngozi threw the paper down in frustration. "This is not over, Amara. You will regret this." Amara's smile widened. "We will see about that, won't we?" The tension in the house remained high, with Amara and Ngozi locked in a relentless battle of wills. Each day brought new schemes, confrontations, and a deepening animosity between the two women. However, amidst the chaos, Amara continued to fulfill her responsibility as a wife with grace and efficiency. She took charge of the household, ensuring that everything ran smoothly. She managed the finances meticulously, making sure bills were paid on time and investments were handled wisely. Amara also made a point of engaging with the household staff, earning their respect and loyalty. She treated them with kindness and fairness, which contrasted sharply with the way Ngozi treated them. The staffs appreciated Amara's leadership, and their loyalty to her only grew stronger. One evening, Obinna returned from work to find Amara in the kitchen, preparing dinner. The aroma of a well-cooked meal filled the air. "Amara, this smells wonderful," he said, genuinely impressed. Amara looked up with a small smile. "Thank you, Obinna. I thought it would be nice to have a proper meal together. As they sat down to dinner, Obinna couldn't help but notice the difference between Amara and Ngozi. While Ngozi was always out partying or spending money lavishly, Amara was here taking care of the home and ensuring everything was in order. Over the next few weeks, Obinna began to see more of the positive changes Amara was making. She organized the finances, setting up a budget that allowed them to save money while still enjoying a comfortable lifestyle. Obinna found himself increasingly drawn to Amara's intelligence, kindness, and dedication. He began to appreciate the qualities he had not seen in her initially. Amara noticed his sudden friendliness, the way he checked up on her, and the subtle looks of admiration. He seemed to be developing feelings for her, and it left Amara both confused and guarded. Ngozi too sensed the change, but Obinna dismissed her concerns. One night, when Ngozi was away visiting her sick mother, Obinna entered Amara's room. Amara was sitting on her bed dressed in a beautiful nightgown. Obinna paused, taking in her beauty. How had he not seen it before? "Amara," he said softly, "can we talk?" Amara looked up. "What is it, Obinna?" He approached her slowly. "I have been thinking a lot about us, about everything. I realize now how wrong I have been." Before Amara could respond, Obinna tried to hug her. Instinctively, she pushed him away. "Don't, Obinna, you can't just change overnight." He nodded, understanding her reluctance. "I know, I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I want to try to make things right." He decided to stay in her room that night, a pillow placed between them. Over the next few days, with Ngozi still away, Obinna's attempt to bridge the gap continued. Slowly, Amara found herself soften. His genuine remorse and newfound admiration for her were hard to resist. By the time Ngozi returned, the dynamics had shifted significantly. Obinna had distanced himself from Ngozi, his affections clearly waning. Ngozi noticed the coldness, the lack of touch, and the absence of playful banter. She confronted him. "Obinna, what is going on? Why are you so distant?" Ngozi demanded. Obinna sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Ngozi, things have changed. I have realized some things about our relationship and about Amara." Ngozi's eyes widened in disbelief. "About Amara? What are you saying?" Obinna looked her in the eye, his expression serious. "I have been wrong, Ngozi. I treated Amara terribly, and I am trying to make amends. She deserves better, and I want to be better." Ngozi's face twisted with fury. "So, you are going to abandon me after everything we have been through?" Obinna shook his head. "I am not abandoning you, Ngozi, but I need to do what's right. I need to fix things with Amara." Ngozi's eyes filled with tears, and she stormed out, leaving Obinna standing alone, feeling a mixture of guilt and determination. In the following weeks, Obinna continued to show Amara his genuine efforts to change. He spent most time with her, listened to her, and respected her space. Amara, though still cautious, began to see the sincerity in his actions. With each passing day, Obinna and Amara grew closer, learning to trust and love each other. One night, Obinna was late getting home from work. Amara was worried, as Obinna was not the type to keep late nights. She called his phones, but they were switched off. Ngozi, on the other hand, seemed completely unbothered and even went to bed early without a second thought. Amara waited for Obinna until midnight, and when he finally arrived, she was there to greet him at the door, looking genuinely concerned. "You didn't have to wake up," Obinna said, surprised to see her awake. "I was worried," she said softly. "Your phones were off. What happened?" "I had a business meeting that took longer than expected, and we had to switch off our phones." "I am sorry," Obinna explained, touched by her concern. "Go freshen up. I will get your dinner ready," Amara said, heading to the kitchen. Obinna went to check their bedroom and found Ngozi fast asleep, completely unconcerned about his absence. The contrast between her indifference and Amara's worry struck him deeply. He felt an overwhelming surge of affection for Amara. After having his dinner, Obinna went to Amara's room. She had just settled in, about to lock her door, when he quickly slipped in before she could. "Amara, can we talk?" he asked, closing the door behind him. She looked at him, her heart pounding. "What is it?" One thing led to another, and for the first time since they got married, they became intimate. Obinna was astonished to discover that after all these years and her exposure, Amara was still a virgin. This revelation made him love her even more. He held her close, whispering apologies and promises to make things right. "Amara, I am so sorry for everything. Please forgive me," he pleaded, his voice filled with sincerity. Amara looked into his eyes, seeing the genuine regret and love. "Obinna, it will take time, but I am willing to try." From that moment on, Obinna couldn't let go of Amara. He became even more affectionate and attentive, much to Ngozi's chagrin. Determined to make things right, Obinna decided to talk to Ngozi about ending their arrangement. "Ngozi, we need to talk," Obinna said one evening. "What is it?" Ngozi replied, her tone already defensive. "I think it's time we go our separate ways. I want to obey my father's wishes and go back to my wife. I will settle you well and you won't lack anything," Obinna explained gently. Ngozi's eyes flashed with anger. "You think you can just cast me aside like that? I promise you, Obinna, I will ruin you and Amara if you try this." Obinna sighed, seeing the fury in her eyes. "Ngozi, I am trying to do the right thing. I hope you understand." "Understand?" she spat. "I will make you regret this." Obinna left the room, thinking she only said those things out of anger, but he underestimated Ngozi's resolve and her capacity for revenge. Days went by and Obinna's affection for Amara grew stronger. They shared more moments together. Amara, despite her initial reluctance, found herself deeply in love with her husband. However, Ngozi's jealousy and bitterness drove her to the brink of desperation. One evening, Ngozi stormed into Obinna and Amara's room, a malicious smile on her face. "I hope you are ready for the storm that is coming," Amara, she said coldly. Amara looked at her unbothered. "Do your worst, Ngozi. Obinna and I are stronger than you think." Obinna stood by Amara's side, holding her. "We are ready for whatever you throw at us," he said firmly. Ngozi's jealousy reached a boiling point, and she decided to take a drastic action. She hired an assassin through a shady contact, determined to remove Amara from her life permanently. However, Obinna, now deeply in love with Amara and wary of Ngozi's intention, had taken precautions. He hired a bodyguard to follow and protect Amara discreetly, ensuring her safety without her knowledge. One evening, Amara decided to take a stroll through a nearby park after a long day at the hospital. She enjoyed the calm and peace, unaware of the danger lurking nearby. The assassin, a cold and calculating man named Chike, watched her from the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As Amara walked deeper into the park, Chike began to close in, his footsteps silent and deadly. He pulled out a knife ready to carry out Ngozi's deadly order. Just as he was about to attack, the bodyguard Uche, who had been trailing Amara from his safe distance, sprang into action. "Stay back," Uche shouted. He rushed at Chike and knocked the knife off from his hand. The two men struggled, each trying to overpower the other. Amara, startled and terrified, watched in shock as the struggle unfolded before her eyes. Uche managed to subdue Chike, pinning him to the ground. He quickly called the police, who arrived promptly and took Chike into custody. Amara, still shaken, thanked Uche, who finally revealed his role as her protector. Back at the police station under intense interrogation, Chike broke down and confessed everything. He detailed Ngozi's involvement and the plot to kill Amara. The police wasted no time in arresting Ngozi, who was taken by surprise. When Obinna heard the news, he rushed to the police station. He found Amara there, still in shock but safe. He hugged her tightly, relief washing over him. "Amara, I am so sorry this happened. I am just glad you are safe." Amara nodded, tears in her eyes. "I am glad you hired Uche. I had no idea." Ngozi was brought in, handcuffed. When she saw Obinna and Amara together, she spat. "You will never be happy, Obinna. I will make sure of it." Obinna, his face a mix of anger and sadness, replied, "You have done enough, Ngozi. You are going to pay for what you have done." The trial was swift, given the overwhelming evidence against Ngozi and Chike. Both were found guilty of attempted murder and sentenced to 21 years in prison. As Ngozi was led away, she glared at Amara, but Amara stood strong, knowing that the worst was behind her. With Ngozi out of their lives, Obinna and Amara could finally begin to heal. They worked on rebuilding their trust and love, knowing that their bond had been tested and proven unbreakable. Amara continued her work as a doctor, and Obinna supported her every step of the way. Obinna's father, Chief Okafor, had been sick for some time. Despite his illness, he found immense joy in seeing Obinna and Amara reconcile and grow closer. One evening, as Amara sat by his bedside, he held her and smiled weakly. "You have my blessings, my dear. You have brought peace to this family," he whispered. Everyone was devastated when Chief Okafor passed away, especially Obinna. The loss was profound, but Amara's support helped him pull through. They both drew strength from each other, determined to honor his memory by building a strong and loving family. Shortly after the funeral, Obinna discovered the clause in his father's will about the 10 years inheritance condition. He was initially shocked, but then relieved, knowing that he and Amara were genuinely in love and committed to each other. Amara had to break the news to Chima about her decision to stay with Obinna. It was a painful conversation and Chima was heartbroken. Despite his feelings, he wished her well, understanding that her happiness was what mattered most. Amara's father, Chief Roland, was thrilled to see how things had turned out. He was proud of the woman Amara had become, strong, independent, and loving. One morning, Amara felt unusually tired and dizzy. After taking a test, she found out she was pregnant. When she told Obinna, his eyes lit up with joy. "So, I am going to be a dad," he exclaimed, lifting her off the ground in a happy mood. Months later, Amara gave birth to a set of healthy twins. They named the boys Ifeanyi and Chukwuemeka. The house was filled with laughter and the joyful cries of babies. Obinna was over the moon, doting on his children and his wife. With each passing day, Obinna and Amara grew stronger, learning to trust and love each other. In the end, they learned that forgiveness and growth are essential for healing. Obinna's genuine remorse and Amara's willingness to forgive showcase the importance of rebuilding relationships with sincere effort and commitment.
If you have enjoyed our story, please consider liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click on the notification bell so you will never miss out on more captivating stories like this one. Thank you for watching.